folks. Bring it back in. How are we doing? All good? Brilliant. Okay, well, I'm just here to bring on the one, the only, the fantastic, the amazing Luke McGibbon!
It is the wonderful Luke McGibbon!
Give it up for me! Thank you very much. Right. Straight in, no guessing. I just didn't know how to go into the open line. I've never been brought on to such tension as an entire room going, how's he going to get past the dog? The dog's in his path, what's he going to do? Nothing bad. I'm not going to imagine fucking how shit a start that would be to this show. Before I come on stage, I just fucking give a nice dog a boot in the hole. Thank you, Dexter, for coming wherever you may roam. But genuinely, no, thank you all for coming, especially given the year you've all been having. I think there's been a lot going to change, you know, like, I think one of the big things that's going to change in the pandemic that no one's talking about is doctor and nurse fetishism. And the CBT person there as well already knows about it. Like, no one's talking about it, you know, because I bought my partner one of those sexy nurse outfits, and now whenever she wears it, we don't even have sex, because I'm just like, you are a fucking hero. She's like, just fuck me. I'm like, the country can't afford it! This is all you get. This and a $5 at Christmas. Pandemic had lots of weird stuff, wasn't it? It was really surreal to me to be called gullible by people who think Hillary Clinton did 9/11. People who really thought she was behind the wheel of the whole thing. I used to argue with anti-vaccine people on the internet. I used to, not for a job, but for fun, I guess. I used to type these big long paragraphs in Facebook comments for people, but you just get tired of it all, don't you? You know, like now whenever I see like Margaret from Portadown commenting under a Guardian article saying that she thinks that Bill Gates is trying to control the world, I hit the comment button and I type fuck up, and that's all it's that'll do me. That'll do me, you know. Anyone here got COVID? Anyone here had it a few times? 1, 2? Yeah? Yes? Yeah. That was like you put your hand up and then you just went, ugh, like so sick of this bitch. I've had it twice there. I'm just a couple of months ago over my second go of it. And I swear to God, I'm just handling it so fucking bad. I'm so stupid. I actually, genuinely, when I had COVID, I burned my nose on a scented candle, trying to see if I still had a sense of smell. And after a while, I'm like, I can smell burning flesh. Pretty sure that isn't in the Yankee Candle range. But, fucking stupid. You know you can sniff things that aren't on fire. Fuck's sake. It's a great rattly laugh, man. I love it. I don't know if you're enjoying it or need resuscitation. Don't shame an audience member for laughing. I think it's just little interactions going to change, you know, like even like taxis, you know, because you used to go into a taxi and go, "You busy tonight, mate?" and he would give you a genuine answer. And now if you go into a taxi and you go, "Busy tonight, mate?" he'll go, "No. The roads are barren, and if you don't tip me, I can't feed my family." It's so uncomfortable, I changed the subject to Brexit. It's transport, isn't it? But that's the quality segue you're getting, by the way. If I say, "here," that means I'm talking about something else. It's a local rule. I got in trouble transporting myself places. I was eating an ice cream while riding a bike, which, if you look that up in the DSM-5, that just says eating disorder. You can wait a minute and eat the ice cream. You can wait. It's not essential. I got stopped by the police because I was eating an ice cream on a bike, and they said, "If you keep doing that, we're going to fine you, and if you keep doing that after that, there may be prison time." What creamy maverick was this rule invented for? What was that? And they're here tonight. I just want to see that happen. You know, I want to see where that goes. I want to see somebody in prison, they're next to someone, and they're like, "Well, I murdered 12 people. What are you in for?" And it's like,
well, I don't mean to brag, but I was eating a calippo at 7 miles an hour.
Anyone here done some speeding before? Anyone sped? Yeah? Don't worry, there's not a speed camera with me tonight. And did you do the speeding course, mate? Yeah?
3 times now.
3 times? Oh man, you beat my high score. This entire bit is about doing it twice and now it's gonna fucking pale. It's real impressive as well. Like I've done it twice because the first time I was in a real hurry to get there and have you started to memorize his set now? Do you know his bits?
I know the guy by name.
You know him by name as well? You like show up and you're like, right David, how's the kids? He's like, my kids died in a road traffic accident. I don't know why the speeding course guy is Batman, like he decides to take it. His kids died in a road accident and he's like, I will become a speeding instructor. Drivers are cowardly and suspicious lots. I started to memorize his set too, and I don't know if you remember, but there's this bit that he does, and I fucking hate it, where I see it coming every time now, where he does this thing where he says something that is a bit grim, but also ever so slightly funny, right? And the minute, if you so much as crack a smile, he'll round upon you and make you feel like a bastard. Right? So he says this, right? He goes, if you're driving at 200 miles an hour and you have your hand on the steering wheel like this, and you crash, you will punch yourself in the face. And if you laugh or smile, as you did, he rounds upon you and he goes, you think that's funny, don't you? And then he fucking tops it with this shiner, right, where he goes, would you think it's that funny if it was your ma? And it's like, mate, you find the only way to make that funnier. Because my mom is one of the gentlest people I know, and the idea of her punching anyone, let alone herself, at 200 miles an hour, becoming the heavyweight champion of her own face, I'm gonna crack a smile. I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna come back a 3rd time, me and you, buddy. I'm gonna do the thing to him. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna show up and I'll be like, right, David, what are you doing? And you go, hey, look, it's sort of good to see you again. And he's like, what happened? And I'll be like, well, actually, it was really bad this time. I did hit someone in my car, and they're really badly hurt. They're in intensive care now. And he'll say, oh, that's terrible. And then I'll go, you think that's sad, do you? What if it was your ma? Really sad. We were talking about the pandemic a little bit. I think one of the things that's going to be affected by the pandemic that I worry about even is paramilitaries. Like we've got a sponsorship bucket at the back for them. Because paramilitaries, one of their main sources of revenue would be that they'd go to local businesses and they'd charge them for protection and say, pay us and we'll protect you from us. And now, because of the pandemic, all the local businesses have moved online. So paramilitaries are now going to have to start going door to door and being like, that's a really nice Jill Neal's page you have on Facebook there. So it would be a real shame if someone were to give you a negative review on Yelp. That would be 5 Bitcoin. Anyone try and improve themselves at all, grow as a person during the pandemic?
No.
Yeah. What did you do, Dan?
I grew my hair.
When I said when you tried to grow, in the I didn't mean literally, but you look great. So mission complete as far as I'm concerned. I tried to learn Gaelic, and it has changed me as a person because my partner, she is English, and now sometimes she'll come into a room and she'll ask me for things. She'll say, can you give me back my phone charger? You've had my phone charger for the last week. And because I've been learning Gaelic, I can say to her, you've had my country for the last 800 years, no matter. Why don't we sit down around the negotiating table and discuss this? She's like, I'll come back later, and I'm like, your time will come! Glad that worked, because there are some big prod heads in you, and wasn't sure it would land, there are some among you who look like the type who would, at the end of a meal, ask the waiter for the William. I think there's some of you have your pronouns listed on Twitter as mad/dog. As the only Protestant that I know is a Protestant. and my partner have been together about 5 years. Anyone longer? Yes, yes. Oh, the three of you? That's it, what's her?
Not together.
Not together?
We're 7.5 years and we're engaged.
Oh shit, oh congratulations. Yes, yes, yes. When you said not together, it meant you were adding up the numbers of all three of your relationships.
I like it's not trouble.
Okay, okay, never mind. And like, how are the compliments between you two? Are they still good?
I call him the ball back every day.
I like that you said I call him ball bag every day like it's a prescription. Like, he went to the relationship doctor and he was like, give him one ball bag. That's real nice. Yeah, well, I think that's sort of the point I'm moving towards anyway, which is that, like, after a certain amount of time, the stereotype is that the compliments dry up. They don't dry up, they get weird. And sometimes they hurt your feelings, even. I mean, like, the other day, me and my partner were in each other's arms, right? And she looked me in the face and she said, I love your tiny teeth. I love your tiny teeth. What the fuck am I meant to do with that? Go eat some sweet corn, look, it's all you're good for. It's not even the best compliment I ever got. Best compliment I ever got was years ago. I didn't know how to handle it as well. I didn't know what to do with positive reinforcement, you know. The best compliment I ever got, I was having sex with somebody and they said, not like a third person, not like a stranger with a Tesco bag sat between his legs. Good. I was having sex with this person and the nicest compliment I ever got was, she said, this is the best sex I've ever had, and I didn't know what to do with that, so I laughed and said, no it's not. Which at the time, right, I thought was very humble, but in hindsight actually sounds kind of threatening. Does sound like a threat with me. And when you like that, do you? Well, you see what I got next? The sweet release of death.
I feel like compliments from a comedian are either meaningless or sinister, aren't they? Have to check. You know, it's kind of like compliments from your granny. Do you know? Like, do you ever get a compliment from your granny and it's a bit intense, and she starts getting a bit weird with it. She starts saying shit like, "Oh, if I were 20 years younger, if I were 20 years younger." I like to challenge her when she says that. I'm like, "You'd what, granny? You'd fuck me." If you were 20 years younger, granny, would you fuck me? Because I've seen Back to the Future, granny. I know how this shit works out.
I am probably going to marry my partner, and I just, you know, I think about it a lot, and that's where it stops. I think about it a lot, and I just think, you know, the institution of marriage is just a little weird, you know, because it's kind of like saying to somebody, I like you so much that I want to be related to you. But just to be clear, we're still fucking. No amount of blood's getting between that. It's grosser than it is. I mean, you know, family blood. That's why it sounds even worse. You know what I'm trying to say. And you know, a relationship going right, you know, what's really nice about that is that it has nothing to do with how smart you are or how stupid you are. Everyone can, you know, find something that works. And you know, that's very encouraging. It's also discouraging when you think of all the smart people who fucked up their relationships, like Stephen Hawking, divorced, and that breaks my heart because that means at one point Stephen Hawking and his wife had to have an argument, and Stephen Hawking could only type by flexing his cheek muscle to scroll through letters. So it takes fucking ages for Stephen Hawking to say like 3 words. So like she could be like, well, Stephen, you never do the dishes, you never play with the kids, you don't seem to get on with my dad at all, you're always making the same face. We got you in an upstairs office, you don't even touch it. And frankly, Stephen, it's not good enough, you know, I think it's just, it's sluggish, and it's unhelpful. You're always sitting about doing your theorems, and it's just, it's not nice for me. I'm a woman, I need to be loved, and I need to be supported. And then, like, time passes, and then Stephen goes, I did the dishes yesterday. And that's all he's got. He's buffering for the next hour.
I've lost faith in the next joke because it sounds dodgy. No, I'm not just going to say it. I can afford to. You seem real nice. I can run under. Who gives a fuck? Actually, oh no, I'm running over. I better hurry up. Good thing I cut that. Actually, we're talking about paramilitaries. We're talking about the Irish language, and technically, I guess we were talking about green and orange shit. And sometimes people say, I wish they would just get everyone who cares about green and orange politics and just put them on an island and just let them fight it out. And they did try that. You are living on it. Vulture! I really like the attitude of people from this country. It's an attitude of heroic pain. Like whatever that debit card just did, it's heroic pain for me. But yeah, okay, I'll give you an example. I was in the co-op the other day in Craigie Road, and there was an American guy at the counter, and he said to the person behind the till, he said, "Oh, sometimes I don't know if it's euros or pounds up here." And it's like, first of all, mate, Craigie Road, watch your fucking mouth. And the old lady behind the counter said to him, "Sure, it doesn't matter, aren't we all suffering?" Welcome to Ireland! We're all suffering. Don't try and cry, we'll only charge you for the tears. What a charge this was 10 years ago, like, I'm not over it! I'm not over it. The thing I noticed about storytelling around here, born nation of storytellers, but this habit in their stories of putting a lot of spin in there, where they'll say, and then he turns around to me and says this, and I turns around to him and says that. And it's like, what fucking roller disco is this conversation taking place in, where every line is somebody getting through to the next round of the voice? Do you know what I mean? There's a thing in advertisements in this country, I checked, they don't do it in England or the South, it's weird, we've done it, where if you see a child in an advert in Northern Ireland, there's only like 2 possibilities for that child. That child's either going to go to school and open up his lunchbox and find a delicious Cookstown ham sandwich, or die in a road traffic control incident. That's the 2 genders. But that's what we do with children here. We give them ham and then they die.
It's just weird, and that's one of the things that they don't try and sell back to you, because I feel like shops here try and sell our own culture back to us. That you'll go into a shop and they'll have all the phrases there. It'll be like, "That's us now. What's the crack? Fuck the Pope." It's like, fuck off, Spar. You didn't invent fuck the Pope. We as a country came together and decided to fuck the Pope. Yeah, I'm never going to leave this place, probably. I'm not a very worldly person. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience when you're ordering Chinese food, and on the phone, if you ask for sweet and sour chicken, sometimes they go, "Do you want Cantonese style or Korean style?" And I'm like, mate, I can't even point to Canton on a map. Not a worldly person, sir. If I knew the first thing about Asian cuisine, I would not be ringing a place called Tasty Garden at 3 a.m. asking if they can deliver to the big roundabout in Larne. You hear the roundabout too as well. The roundabout. Sorry, I just caught Dexter's face, and the dog is just being very cute and having a little sleep. In a way, quite insulting, but he's lovely. He's what?
Never been to Larne.
He's never been to Larne. Don't. Well, if there's one thing to take away from this show.
People from Ireland, I think they get a reputation as being commitment phobes. Even, people around the world, they do say that. They say, oh, they never call back. And I mean, that's because you're here for a week, Janessa from the USA, but I couldn't think of a USA. I just went for all of them at once. But, I used to think it was a myth. I used to think we weren't commitment phobes until I looked up actual Irish mythology and found that there's 2 times in Irish myths when a man, rather than talk to a woman, instead decides to turn into a fish. Go to therapy, Ireland. I heard ghosting was bad, but fishing. They say there's plenty more fish in the sea, but they don't say that some of those fish are other commitment phobes. They're trying to run away from their life responsibility. You pick them up and they're like, I just want to work on myself for a while. It's like, fuck off, Oshie. I'm just doing that thing where the punchline's just someone's name, isn't it? The rest of the show is just going to be, shut up, Janelle. I know one name, apparently. It's a metaphor though, isn't it? The Irish mythology thing, the thing about the fish. Because, right, they say that sort of myths have a kind of psychological significance. And to me, that myth is about avoidance and like defense mechanisms, right? And everyone has sort of defense mechanisms because it's anything that you do to try and avoid something that's uncomfortable to you, or a difficult truth, or a difficult feeling. Like, I'm not going to pick on these, but by way of hands, put your hand up if you're scared of spiders. Okay. Please welcome to the stage. So keep your hand up, keep your hand up, right? And I want you to keep your hand up if, whenever you tell people you're scared of spiders, you don't say I'm scared of spiders, you say I hate spiders. Right, yeah, right. That's a defense mechanism because you would rather feel hate than fear. And I'm aware that I sound like a personals ad for the X-Men right now. And like, okay, well, put your hand up if, whenever you're really angry, do you cry instead of be angry? Yeah, and that's a defense mechanism as well because you would rather feel upset than anger, and maybe that's the way you're socialized, or it tends to be women because it's a very patriarchal thing. And you know, defense mechanisms are very useful, but you know, at first, and then but you keep them throughout their life, and they become something that hinders you. Okay, so
I have to explain the chair because. Right, this show was originally intended to be just sort of a collection of jokes without any sort of resounding theme or anything. But then there was some pretentious twatty stuff that I wanted to talk about, and that isn't even that funny. And I was like, well, I'll just have it clearly labelled for whenever I'm doing it. Sections where I say something I've been thinking about, but it's, you know, it's not particularly intentional. Like, I've totally given up on the idea of a comedian having any sort of social or political influence in the world. I mean, and so I'm not even really going to be poking that much fun at the sort of normal targets like the alt-right. I just don't meet any of the alt-right. I don't get any taxis. That's the classic, you know, left-wing comedian straw man. Is whenever you want to talk about a right-wing viewpoint, you go, I got a taxi, and the taxi driver said, I love Brexit. And then I destroyed him with knowledge and facts. Said by a comedian who got a private jet to go to the fucking toilet, probably never been in a taxi in his fucking life. But okay, we're about 25 minutes into the show.
We're about 25 minutes in. I'm aiming for 50 minutes for the show, which is the therapeutic hour. It's 10 minutes for paperwork, but I just thought it would be nice. I've been to a lot of fucking stand-up. And I find that in hour-long shows, no one is good enough to be truly funny for the entire hour. And no one, I don't know, this is hubris you're watching. And at the 25-minute point, that is whenever I start to get tired and I need the toilet. And so what I'm doing is I'm just sort of breaking up the general show by just having some one-liners just here. I've got this kind of 25 minutes envelope here. I've got three little one-liners to just sort of make it less busy the whole time. Okay, one-liner. If you die in Lauren, you die in real life. And your laugh is so good, I want you in every audience for the rest of my life. Not that everyone else isn't fucking great, but I just, if there was like 50 of you in every crowd, I would become a terrible comedian because you're so giving to me. When will Gordon Ramsay stop talking about his kitchen nightmares and start talking about his kitchen dreams? And the last one-liner is one that's got sentimental value to me. I wrote it the night after I met my partner, and I told it to her, and she said, that is the worst joke I've ever heard. And it makes her uncomfortable, and I insist on doing it every time. Every time she's in the crowd for a gig. She's not here tonight, but I'm just going to tell her I said it. But this is the worst joke I've ever written on here. thieves, they take me back. I love it. It's like I don't know. I'm glad I recorded you stop. I'm not going to play that turn on loop. Making people laugh used to be like, right, I was never the class clown in school. Like, so every joke I've ever told was against the will of the people. But making people laugh used to be something that was very important to me back in the day. Now, spine thieves. Clearly, I no longer give a fuck. But you know, even sometimes there's like a value for me in even telling jokes that I think are quite bad. Because I think just sort of doing this, it's surprisingly good for me. Because it means that I'm not trying to be funny in conversation. Because I have this as part of my identity. I can sort of go, I'm funny when I'm raised and lit. I don't have to be funny with these people. It makes me try less hard, it makes me relax. It makes me incredibly boring, but it makes me very happy. And sometimes it makes me think, well, I now have to judge my worth and value as a person beyond just the ability to make people laugh, and that's kind of scary. So when that happens, I turn into a fish.
Meet some weird people doing this, you know. Years ago, somebody heckled the entire show, and afterwards, they always come up to you afterwards because they want absolution. And they want to feel like it was alright. And he comes up to me and goes, I'm so sorry mate for doing that. It's just like, I have fibromyalgia. And it's like, you're still a cunt? He's like, what symptom of fibromyalgia is be a cunt? Have you got fibromyalgia?
Yeah.
Are you, and what's it like?
Shite.
What's that?
Shite.
Does it ever make you heckle?
No, just not.
Just... You're one of the good ones. But yeah, because it's not about his fibromyalgia, it's about him being a dick. You're obviously not a dick, Rachel. See, no, we go. It's weird. You do meet some weird people doing this. Shouldn't say that after just saying your name, Rachel. You do meet some other people who are weird doing this. I knew a comedian years ago who told me that she was a medium, psychic. And actually, just as a little side note, do mediums, whenever they're applying for jobs, do they have to put all their past lives in the CV? Like, where they go, I see there's a gap in your CV here from 1889 to 1945. You know what you're up to there? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, so embarrassed, mate, I was Hitler for a while. No transferable skills there. I guess leadership, working as part of a team. The 1,000-year team we used to call ourselves. Great communication skills. But no, my friend, this other comedian, she said she was a medium, that she could talk to the dead. And once driving home from the shite gig in Banbridge, I gave in to my curiosity and I said, is there anyone about me? You know, any hovering spirits? And she said, yes, it's your dead granddad. And to be fair, I did have a dead granddad, I still do. And so she was 1 for 1 so far, right? I was like, well, tell me more. And just for context, at the time I was 21, I was going out with a 19-year-old girl who had alopecia and she wore a wig. And don't worry, no Will Smith stuff about to happen. But anyway, I was 21, I was going out with a 19-year-old girl who had alopecia and wore a wig. And my psychic friend said, yes, your granddad is pointing at a picture of your girlfriend. It's one of the pictures from Facebook, which is like, alright, what's he doing on Facebook? Guy can't operate a Windows 95 in life. And now fucking he's the social media demon. But, and the psychic said, he's pointing at a picture of your girlfriend, it's the one from Facebook, he's pointing at her head, right? And I think what was really happening there is my friend is not psychic, because I don't think anyone is really. And she was using my dead granddad to see if my girlfriend had a wig, which is horrible, that is horrible. But I choose to believe that because the alternative is much worse. Because the alternative is that my granddad parted the veil between life and death, which no one has ever done before. And he did not speak to his grieving widow who wept for him for a decade after his death. He did not visit his family who missed him and loved him, but he instead opted to just roast a 19-year-old bald girl from beyond the grave. Yeah, look at that. Fuck off, Grandad. Back to whence you came.
I'm currently working on a suicide hotline, a suicide prevention We don't provide tips. Though if you like bread and bathing, sir, why not both? I work for a suicide hotline that operates down south, so you can unclench your butt cheeks if you think you've spoken to me. Unless you're with the border, you probably have. Yeah, it only operates down south, and I gotta admit, sometimes it does affect my ability to empathise, to sympathise with people, because I'm on the phone and I'm saying like, oh, okay, so your government are ignoring the mental health crisis in your country, yeah. Your functioning government, I say. Yeah, they're doing their job badly, they're doing their jobs, eh? They're looking for some... People say that must be a hard job. I fucking love it. I really love it. Especially during the summer, when the sun's out, nobody calls the suicide hotline. I sit by the phone all day like a spinster, waiting for somebody to come crying to me, and they just don't. And I think that says something about this country. People will forego the sweet release of death just to work on their tan lines. Pro tip, don't call it the sweet release of death when you're working on a social media.
There's a thing that people do, I think, whenever they're very depressed, and it's a defense mechanism of its own, and it comes from this place of compassion because they're caring about other people. But what they'll do is they'll try and downplay their own pain, and it doesn't serve them, you know. Like sometimes, you know, I'll pick up the phone and they'll be immediately doing it. They'll be like, "No, mate, I'm gonna end the call. This isn't serious, mate. No, I'm making something out of nothing, mate. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid, mate. I'm a fucking idiot. Honestly, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. You've got other people you need to speak to more than me." And then I'll say to them, "Well, where are you right now?" And he'll say, "Well, I've got one foot on the stool, and I've got one foot off it, and I'm having a big old think. But I'm probably making something out of nothing, mate." I don't know if I'm able to tell that joke, but I'll tell you what, suicidal people fucking love it. They say, "Right, what you know?" I know suicidal people. I know them in their droves. I like to think of it as I'm more making fun of the defense mechanism that's keeping them sad, but you know, we can talk about it after if you don't like me. Yeah, you know, when I tell people I do that job and I tell them I do this, they say, "Oh, you must get a lot of material doing that, mate. A lot of material working on the suicide hotline." It's like, yeah, mate, yeah, it's the basement of human misery and I'm sworn to secrecy. It is an absolute fucking goldmine. Yeah, there's, you know, when mental health related things are in the news, there's almost a script that people follow on social media. They all say the same thing sometimes, you know. Like, they'll always say, you know, "Hey, if you're feeling sad, come round to mine. The kettle's always on in my house. The kettle's always on in my house." And it's like, do you just leave all the appliances on? If you're dirty, the washing machine's always on in my house. I tell you what, if I was depressed and someone told me they had a constantly boiling pot of water, I would not find that stress relieving at all. There's a climate crisis, Janet. Turn off the fucking kettle, or I'm gonna kill myself.
Mental health awareness is a great thing that's happening, and you know, it's great in the world. But you know, sometimes it catches me off guard. I was in the co-op the other day. I was trying to buy 3 packets of paracetamol from Ellen. She works there. She's not my dealer. And because I was buying 3 packets of paracetamol, Eleanor asked me if I wanted to end my life, which I didn't realise was a service they provided. But they have to ask that if they're worried about you for buying too many painkillers, and I didn't know that, so I was just like, "Well, only if you don't let me have these." Because I've got a migraine and I'd rather the sweet release of death. I just thought she was nosy. Do you know what I mean? I took offence because I thought she was being nosy. Like, I thought if I went to the counter with a load of Andrex, she'd be like, "You plan on taking a shit tonight?" Yeah, man, I'm having a party. I actually got into counselling as a career after my own negative experience with mental health. I once had a really bad case of postnatal depression shortly after I was born. I spent a lot of time crying. I had to be supported by those around me, and at my lowest points, I soiled myself. I wasn't sure if your laugh would carry me to a water break, but no, I'll do the next one.
Yeah, and it just seems to be, you know, people seem to have their own spin on things now. I think it's really good that men are finally listening to advice around mental health. I just think it's weird that they're only taking advice on mental health from personal trainers on Facebook and sea swimming people, which, you know, sea swimming people, they do come at you with a certain enthusiasm and intensity that makes you think, yeah, you probably could do with a very cold bath. Cool off a little. They're about 2 centimeters from your face, and they're like, "It works, mate. I don't even talk about my feelings, mate. I just plunge my head into the Arctic tundra, mate. My retina's froze, mate, but it works, mate. It just works, mate. It makes me feel good. It works, mate. It doesn't bring father back, but it works, mate." Sometimes, mate, I throw myself under the water, mate, and whenever I come up for a second, I think I see him, mate. I think I see Dad on the shoreline, mate. I think I see him there, and he says to me, "It was all a joke, son. It was all a joke whenever I died. But it works, mate." I think that's... Thank you for going with me on this. I think that therapists are now sort of becoming to people kind of what priests used to be, you know, where somebody that they would come to provide a kind of certainty in a world that is very uncertain, you know, when really they should be being shown how to cope with uncertainty, which is, you know, one of the big constants of life. Maybe you should listen to priests, you know, in a way. Like, that's a guy who gets up at 10 a.m. on a Sunday and just immediately starts drinking. That's either somebody who's really got their shit together or somebody who has not got their shit together. I guess, you know, speaking of priests and certainty, I found that whenever I was younger, as born a Catholic, I will die a slut. That's my joke. And you know, priests, to me, they used to be very vague, actually, about a lot of things, and whenever they were certain, it would be about something real shitty. Like, there was only one question I remember a priest giving me a really certain answer to. Everything else, vague as fuck. You'd be like, "Father, why do bad things happen to good people?" And he'd go, "Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways." And he'd go, "Father, why are there earthquakes in Japan?" And he'd go, "Well, the Lord has a plan, and sometimes earthquakes in Japan are part of that plan." And he'd go, "Father, does my dog have a soul?" And he goes, "Nope." No heaven for Rover, son. Your dog doesn't even get the dignity of hell. I think if Jesus Christ came back as bread, as they say, the least he could have done was have some of the apostles come back as some hummus. Some deli meats, you know. If it was me, I'd commit. I'd be a whole ass brunch, you know. Take this almond croissant, all of you, and eat of it. And Judas is at the back, like, it's pronounced croissant. It's like, fuck up, Judas. Don't give that guy any more mimosas. That's what people drink at brunch, I'm told. I think, you know, church largely these days, you know, it's got a lot. It does a lot. I'm not, you know, going to slam the church. I'm not an edgy guy, but other than all the suicide stuff apparently. But yes, yeah. They say punch up. I punch up at suicidal people. No, no. It's the defense mechanisms. Anyway, yeah. I think one of the big things that churches do now, one of the big functions they fulfill, it's basically social media for old people, isn't it? Like, I mean, are we all on social media, by the way? Do we all also hate social media? Yeah, weird, isn't it? That little thing we have going there with that. Like, I think we all, rightfully hate social media now, but it's going to be even worse in 50 years when we're all still on social media, but we also have degenerative brain diseases and like chronic problems. Like Twitch is going to become this place where people are like live streaming their dialysis, and like Facebook's going to be this place where people with Alzheimer's ask for directions, and like there's going to be old YouTubers. That's the thing that really freaks me out. That makes me feel kind of gross. There's going to be people like, what up YouTube? It's your boy, Functioning Prostate 98. He was born in 1998. In today's video, we're going to try and guess how many of my socks that fucking foreign nurse has been stealing from me. As you get more racist as you get older. Make sure you like and subscribe, right? Because if this video gets 1,000 likes, I'm going to do a prank video where I go into Davey's room and pull the plug. Thank you. I contemplate, kids sometimes, but I'm not very good at taking care of things. Any old motherfuckers got houseplants at all? What? Not anymore. Well, I feel like we're going in the same direction here with this joke. I'm gonna ask someone else. Come on. Who said they've got houseplants here? Yes, Claire. Yes. How many houseplants have died in your care?
2.
2. Okay. And please give it up for the tribunal. The wicked. Have you started to resent them as they die as well?
Sorry?
Have you started to resent them a little bit as they die?
No, I felt crippling guilt.
Oh, okay. Well, you are a functioning human. I'm starting to resent them. I don't know. I watch them wither in front of me, and I'm like, oh, you're thirsty, are you? You're fucking thirsty. You're just like Granny.
It goes quite far back. I feel like you're taking care of things. I had like a Tamagotchi as a kid. I had a Tamagotchi sperm whale, and which go hard or go home, I guess. And it must have died fucking 84 times, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I was like feeding it, I was taking it to the little gym. There's a little gym where it could lift weights and all. And eventually the game took pity on me and said, your whale needs water. Oh, you're just like Granny too.
I always found myself heartened by the existence of the 12A as a film certificate. I just really liked that officially we were like, that is scary, but it's less scary if you've got your dad with you. And I think that's sweet, and I think we should do that for like loads of things, like alcohol even, where like, imagine going into a pub and you see a little toddler on a high chair, pissed off his fucking face, on his 3rd sippy cup of fucking, Jack Daniels. And his dad's there and he's like, don't worry mate, he's fine. As long as he doesn't mix his drinks, Actually, we're just celebrating because today he got his HGV license.
I saw a 10-year-old boy's dick, and good night everybody. I saw a 10-year-old boy's dick. I was staying at an Airbnb in Edinburgh, and one day I opened my door into the hall, and there was a 10-year-old boy's dick there. And it wasn't like a feature. There was a family staying in the room next to me, and this kid had just had a shower, and he came out of the shower with his dressing gown on, but it like open down the middle like Hugh Hefner. The fucking cockiness of this kid strutting by me like, game recognizes game, baby! And it's just weird where your mind goes, because I slammed the door and I was like, oh fuck, am I a paedophile? I immediately answered myself like, well, no, because you would have had to have enjoyed seeing that 10-year-old boy's dick. You would have had to seek further 10-year-old boy's dicks, and it would have had to be your whole thing for a while. Notice that pedophiles, they make it their whole thing. It's like you don't even have a personality. All-consuming hobby. So I thought, well, obviously I'm not a paedophile. You would have had to like it. You would have had to seek it out. And I thought, yeah, no, you're right. I don't have what it takes to be a paedophile. What it takes? What an aspirational thing. Like, be the best. Be a paedophile. Join the British Army. Babies, you know. I'm just saying I'd be bad at it. I'd be bad at it. You know, babies, they're fucking, yeah. Hey, imagine being so hungry you cry. Pussies. That's what I call babies, you know. It's also, I take issue with the phrase soft as a baby's bum, do you know what I mean? Like, because if you've touched a baby or known a baby, all of a baby is soft, and why all this focus on the baby's asshole? It's like, I feel like there must have been like a conversation thousands of years ago at the phrase factory as another job in still automation. Where someone was holding the baby and they were like, oh, this baby's dead soft, and the other guy was like, yeah, that ass though. Everything a baby does is related to its future by people, and that's great, and it's always good, and I kind of wish they would do it about the sad things too, you know, like if someone puts a hand on a pregnant woman's belly, they would say, oh, I feel him kicking, he's going to be a footballer, you know. But they'd never do this, like the opposite with sad things, where like the baby comes out of the womb and it cries, and they go, ah, the baby's experiencing separation from the whole. The baby's realising that there's no love without vulnerability, no vulnerability without the prospect of further pain. He's experiencing the hedgehog's dilemma. He's experiencing we're all going to think that he's really good at breakups whenever he's older, but actually he's just learned to withdraw his love at a moment's notice, because it's better to quit than it is to be fired. And then you go, actually I think he's just hungry.
Talking about taking care of things like that. I'm currently just happy to settle with my 2 cats. And I know a lot of people who, when it comes to their pets, they'll sometimes say, oh, I wish I could talk to my dog, I wish I could talk to my pet. And that sounds real good in theory, but like in reality, like what if your pet is a creep? You're like petting a dog and he looks up at you and he goes, do it slower. Tell me it's small. I feel like a chihuahua has a thing for humiliation.
I think really though, I'm just making excuses. I think I'm probably not going to bring a child into the world because of the climate. You know, that scares me a wee bit. You know, like I feel like it's pretty. You know, it's bad with climate change. Whenever they say there's microplastics being found in human blood, and your response is just, oh, I thought we were already filled with the shit. Do you know what I mean? I was kind of hoping to get the high score. I was hoping whenever I died for them to like cut open my body and be like, oh, there's an entire polystyrene container of Cantonese style chicken balls in this guy's left ventricle.
And you know, I feel bad for the younger generation, because they're the ones that are going to have to, you know, fend for themselves. They're going to have to fight it, and you know, and sometimes people say, oh, how are the young folk going to fight climate change and they're too busy taking their talks or whatever. I don't know. And I think, no, fuck off. You know, the young people give me a lot of hope. They've revolutionised all sorts of things. They've revolutionised cyberbullying. You know, like bullying used to be like a 9 to 5 analog fucking. Now it's like Uber. Now it's 24 hours a day. And I feel like maybe we could even just solve the climate crisis with that. Do you know what I mean? Like we should cyberbully greenhouse gases. Or like greenhouse gas gets a text and it's like, don't come to school tomorrow. If you heat the earth up by 1 more degree, I'll leak your nudes on TikTok. Nearly done, by the way, if you're tired. I just think it's weird how we're fucking up the climate thing in ways that should counteract itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost unfair. Because it's like, you can't have floods and drought. Pick one. That's not fair. Like, the other day they were saying we have like a carbon shortage, and it's like, no we don't, we have too much, that's not fair. And like, it's just going to keep escalating. I feel like they're going to be like, okay, all the bees are dead, but there is a new species of wasp, and he has a gun.
I also have seen this, that nature documentaries, they're getting more depressing because of climate change, do you know what I mean? Like 10 years ago, if you turned on a David Attenborough documentary, he would have been chipper, he would have been bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, which is a condition, and he would have been happy, and he would have been like,
and look at this gazelle as it roams along the plain, and this buffalo as it drinks from a local stream, and this bee is part of a beautiful system of nature that cooperates and works together to make honey.
And like now, if you turn on a nature documentary, Attenborough is still there, but he's in like a cold sweat, and he's like, "This buffalo's addicted to benzodiazepines because of climate change. This gazelle's getting a fucking divorce." And then you see the bee getting evicted from its hive because the hive's getting turned into a vape shop. So jokes are like jokes are often seen as like one of the biggest defense mechanisms that people use, you know, which makes sense in a way because it sort of protects us from seriousness. You know, like Freud even said that you tell jokes about things that unconsciously you're afraid of. Like this dog jumping up onto the stage because I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I'm just going to pet him. I'm nearly done anyway, mate. But I don't want to call him talking yet. But I think, right, you know, Freud said that we joke about things that we're unconsciously quite scared of, which to me is why male comedians will mostly joke about sexual dysfunction, and female comedians will tell jokes about being murdered by male comedians on the way home from a gig. And you know, I'm aware as well that I've done a lot of jokes about sort of green and orange stuff, and about, you know, the Catholic Church and Catholic Protestant troublesy stuff. And I think, you know, I'm aware that that's largely seen as something that's kind of hacky around here, and that there's an urge to move away from it. And I was like that once when I was a younger comic. You know, whenever I started a million years ago, I was like, I'm not going to do any Catholic Protestant jokes. And then like 7 months later, I was like, Huns, eh? What are they like? And the reason that we're all still doing them is because people are still laughing at them. And people are still laughing at them because they're still relevant. And they're still relevant because despite like 20 years of peace, we're not entirely there yet. And that's an uncomfortable thing for me to admit to you. It's an uncomfortable thing to accept. It's an uncomfortable thing to say. But luckily, I know what to do whenever I get uncomfortable. So if you'll excuse me a second, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We're okay.